Hey guys, got my buddy Todd in from Value Place today. Got to try to squeeze him in. He's so busy these days. What are you doing, my friend?
Well, we're looking at some commercial real estate servicers. Commercial loan servicers are looking to extend maturities on a more of a broad scale in the commercial real estate market.
Now, I saw that article on your blog. Guys, you got to read his blog every day, valueplace.blogspot.com. Why is that important to us, Todd?
Well, that is huge if we're shareholders of General Growth Properties, because General Growth Properties' whole thesis going to bankruptcy was that the commercial real estate market, the lending shut down, forced them into bankruptcy, and their plan, or the plan that is alleged to be putting forward, okay, they haven't especially filed it yet, but is that if they can just simply extend maturities on their existing debt, that they can service that debt.
With their existing cash flow.
Existing cash flow, they can service it as they were before. They just couldn't roll it. So if they can extend it 5 to 7 years, they can pay it down, they can service it, everyone gets made whole, everyone's happy. So this is big news because now you have, outside the General Growth Property scenario, you have other commercial lenders and commercial loan servicers.
All are in the same boat.
Right, and they're looking to be proactive and proactively extend maturities. And the typical extension is 6 to 12 months. Okay. So now they're talking 5 years they want to extend maturities out so that the industry gets healthy again without having the general growth scenario played out over and over and over. So that's really big news because if that becomes what the industry is doing, then there's no reason to doubt or no reason to be surprised, put it that way, if the judge in the General Growth Property case says, well, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the maturities and extend them out on the existing general growth debt. And if that gets done, the equity, maybe there's some equity trade-off. You got to give up 10% equity to extend the debt, which is irrelevant in our case.
Right. I sold a little bit of that this morning just for risk management because I had such a big position. And I would like to first take my hat off to because the block I sold today was up 300%. That was beautiful, good. My friend, beautiful.
It'll work if you can get it.
Yeah, that's not too bad, my friend. That was super well done, man.
This kind of sets precedent for the judge, so that him doing this sort of a cram down, sort of extended maturities will be what the industry itself is doing. So that it's going to be hard for any debt holders to object to the bankruptcy plan. That's what it is. So that could play out, and if that's what the industry is doing, it could play out in an expedited fashion. So
right.
We could be out of this thing instead of 18 months, maybe 6 to 12 months. So that's big news and bears close watching to see what trends start to develop out there. But it could be really significant.
Nobody's been more on top of this than you, my friend. Gang, you got to read his blog every day. He's got some good stuff on there. Now, you had a guy on about oil today. You had something about Carlos Quintanilla from CNBC, but I think he's a mimbo.
Yeah, the Jim Grant thing. When you got a guy like Jim Grant, he was talking about inflation and gold and deflation. When you got a guy like that on, if you ask him a question, you got to let him answer because it's not going to be a pithy one-word answer. It's going to be an involved answer. And it was frustrating watching because it kept interrupting him, and then Carlos did a Google search for inflation and then presented that to Grant like it was, some sort of
It's like high school, right?
Yeah, and, Grant kind of looked at him like, why am I here?
Yeah, how stupid are you? And talked me into this.
Exactly. Someone's getting fired for this one. But you know what? I put it on the blog because I think Grant is a smart guy, and if you can get past the interruptions, he does add a lot of value, and what he does say, I think, is very valuable. So it's worth a look. It's a 12-minute video, but it's well worth the 12 minutes, I think.
Wonderful. And you've got something on USO with oil and gold not being tied together.
Yeah, there was this guy on, and I don't have any idea who he was. I've never seen him before. And he was saying that there's this must-have demand in oil, that people want to have oil in their portfolio. And that's sort of the reason that people have been kind of speculating about oil, why it's, is it inflation, is it the dollar, is it, whatever. And he says it's just this constant demand for people who want oil in their portfolios. And, unlike a stock where people will price it, if people want oil in, they're going to go buy it, whether it's $20, $40, $60, or $80 a barrel.
There's 71 today.
Yeah, so if they want to be hedged to oil, they're going to go out and buy it. And he, his theory was that part of the reason oil seems to be mystifying a lot of people is that there's embedded demand in it, and people just want to own it. So they're buying the USO, they're buying the futures, and that's driving the price up. And it was a theory that I hadn't heard before, and it made a lot of sense to me, And because gold has been stagnant for the better part of 2-3 months now, but yet oil's been in this steep climb, and the embedded demand in oil, of people wanting to have oil in their portfolios, driving the price, makes a lot of sense. And I thought it was really interesting, a really different take on it. Not the normal thing you kind of hear every day. And to me, that made it worth something that people might want to think about.
Yeah, well, nice, well done, my friend. Now, you bought some UNG yesterday, right?
Yeah, I'm still very bullish on the gas thing. I know it's been taken. It's kind of been doing this dance around 14 for the better part of a couple of weeks now. But we've had a very cool spring, early summer so far. All we need is one quick heat wave, or go into a prolonged 85, 90 degree.
And boom, on go the AC units.
Yeah, and there was a great chart I saw the other day about UNG and how the third quarter of the year is the best for UNG, and that makes sense because it's the heating season, and that natural gas rises an average of 12.5%, 65% of the time in the third quarter. I think was the number might be off a little bit. That was the general thesis of it.
Yeah.
Which I have the October call, so that I'm playing into that.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, you have a lot of things right now. You have any rebound in the economy, any heat waves, any hurricane, anything like that, and you're going to get a spike in natural gas because, the inventory that we have in natural gas looks like a big number, but it's really not as far as days of use.
It's just not getting used at all. Now, my N gas from a couple days ago we talked about, I sold off a little bit of that today because it spiked up quite a bit. Pulled back now, and I'm looking for another entry into UNG myself. I got a little cute yesterday. You and Canal bought low 1390s, I think.
Yeah.
And I was trying to be cute and waiting for it to fall another dime or so. I'm not sure if I just wanted to save some dignity since you guys seem to be mopping us up. I think that the Red Sox are now 6-0 over the Yankees.
Yeah, but who's counting?
You fucker. Oh, boy, it's tough living these days. But if you keep giving me stocks that go up 300% every 6 weeks, I guess I'll grin and bear it, my friend. Thank you very much.
Did you hear the joke today? What's the difference between a Fenway
yes,
Fenway Franks in October?
Yes, I did. You think you're a funny guy, don't you? You bugger. I saw that and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to not mention that and let that pass. I didn't have anything to say. I had one saved up for you. I was going to tell you about calling the child protection agencies and child abuse for you taking the boys to the game and watching them get mopped up Sunday.
Yeah, that didn't go so well. But it was funny. I was all worried the kids are going to be upset about it, and then we get in the car and they're like, "Who won, Dad?" I'm like,
"Do you know what? There's a day out with their dad. They got some hot dogs.
Exactly.
They didn't care. It's a nice day, right?"
They ate their way through 9 innings. They're perfectly happy.
That's awesome, man. Well done, my friend. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day. Ladies and gentlemen.